Hi everyone.
Hello.
My name is Perpetual.
And my name is Rudolph.
And together we're from
Love, Faith, and Passion.
So first of all, I'm a Bemba woman and I come from a very traditional home. And so when my husband now told me, I think that was like in October, a month into our relationship, that in May on the 26th, I'm coming to meet your people so that I can pay your bride price. I remember going to like somebody close to me and I was like, look, I met this guy and he wants to come home. And because I had, there was another guy before who had also told me that he was gonna come with his people and it never happened. My older sister just said, you know what, let's wait for me. And I was so hurt, but I held on to what God had promised me about our relationship. So when the time came and that day finally came, he called me and he said, look, my grandfather is gonna come and we're going to have my Bashibu Kombe and an elder from the church. I was so humbled in how they honored our culture. Bembas are very strict. I know that in the Shona culture, you go there as well as a groom. In our culture, the groom is not supposed to come there. So he sent people, and it's amazing how they followed everything to the T. And I remember being called to the living room where the elders were, my uncles and everybody. Actually, come to think of it, my uncle first of all grilled me about this Zimbabwean guy who wanted to marry me. I was like, this man is going to have 2 wives. And you won't know what to do. It's a Zimbabwean thing. And
oh my gosh.
I never told you. I was like, okay. Then he asked me, so what does this guy do? Then I said he's a businessman. Businessman, you've got a degree, for crying out loud. So I was so discouraged. But then he called to meet you, right?
Yeah.
And then we went there. I love the fact that my husband's family was so in tune. Like they never fought anybody. So my husband goes there and my uncle's like, Apongozi, meaning son-in-law. He was so happy. I'm like, what happened in the last few days? But I believe it was just God doing his thing.
Yeah,
and when I was called now in the living room to go see where the elders were, and they asked me if I recognized the people, and I said yes, and they sent me away, there was just so much peace about everything. And that night I went to sleep and I couldn't sleep. I just felt God prompting me to pray and spend time in prayer. And I was praying, and as I was praying, the Lord showed me that this man was gonna give me a ring the following day. So he started by paying my bride price. The real engagement in our culture, it's not about the ring per se. So it's not like surprise engagement in the bush somewhere or on top of a building. It's about you reaching to the parents. That's an engagement in our culture. So when that was done, the Lord showed me that he was going to propose the next day. And my friend called me in the night. She was like, hey, what are you wearing to church tomorrow? I'm like, I told her what I was wearing. She said, no, I want to see a picture. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is what the Lord was talking to me about. So the next day, I always told him that I wanted a very private engagement. I didn't want people there. I didn't want the drama, feeling pressure to cry. I didn't want all that. So the next day, I got to church really early, as I had determined in my heart that I'll be at church early. I went to church and I found him there, and it was a bit strange, but I was like, anyway, he's probably going to set up the music system. And he told me, no, we can't use the front door, let's use the back door. But it wasn't strange, because sometimes the front door will be locked if you're really early. So I'm walking into church and I see candles and rose petals, and I'm like, oh my God, the nigga's doing it. So So we went and there was an ark set up. Yeah, then he asked me to marry him. He said a couple of other things that I really didn't hear because I was so nervous. But yeah, that's how he proposed.
And for me, it was a very big deal for my grandfather, who is actually the husband to my late grandma, and my granddad is also late. His soul rest in peace. But it was such an honor for him as the head of our family to actually fly all the way from Zimbabwe just to be able to, be there as we pay her bridal price. So it was such an honor, and also for me, why I wanted to propose at the altar is because for me, like every couple has their favorite hangout place where you have got so many amazing memories. For me, I felt like that was our hangout place, that place where the two of us always used to meet. We always used to meet at church, even before we became an item, before we started courting, we always used to meet at church. So for me, God's presence was our meeting place. So it felt natural to propose right there at the altar and to have God experience that with us as we, invite him into a journey that we began with him as we go on to the next level. So yeah, it was really exciting. Of course, there's no big surprise because she sort of like knew. God spoiled it for me in some instance. But yeah, it was really beautiful, and here we are.
So that's our story as Love, Faith and Passion, and we just like to highlight the fact that through it all we saw the hand of God. I mean, if I look back at everything, there were so many times where I had so much potential to ruin this thing because I'm a hothead sometimes.
Sometimes?
Really, bro?
Okay.
Yeah, I had so many opportunities to ruin this, but because God in his grace saw it fit that people needed to hear this story, or people needed to hear our lessons, he's kept us together. It has taken a lot of dying to self, in that there's no room for pride. Sometimes we've shown up at speaking engagements having argued so much, but because God is leading us, he kind of just mellows everything down. He glorifies himself through us. So I really hope that this story encourages somebody, a girl like me or the younger me out there, after having been dumped so many times and giving up on love, that God really cares about this area of your life.
Indeed. And for me, I would also just want to highlight the fact that God's grace really is sufficient when you invite him, because I think so many times we do not experience what God can do in our love life simply because we just don't invite him. And as we have learned, as my dad always used to say, that God is a gentleman. He'll never invite himself anywhere where he's not welcome. So I'd want to encourage somebody out there that you should invite him into your love life because he's interested. And the other thing that I just wanted to say is the fact that our relationship is not by any means the blueprint. How God worked in our lives is only one way that he can work in so many people's lives. So it's still important that even as you get encouraged by how he moved and worked in our lives, but still seek his face so that you can know how he will work and move and lead and guide you in your own unique way, because every couple has a blueprint, every couple has a unique DNA, and it's only when we allow God to lead us that he begins to reveal what that blueprint is.
Nice. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, share, invite somebody to come and see what God is doing.
Yeah, until we meet again, thank you so much for watching.